And it is live, 15, 16 minutes late, but here we are. Yeah, Hristo's not with us yet. I think he should be on, but we have a Balkan replacement. We have Ian, first time guest, and we've got Dave as always. But I'll start with you, Ian. How are you, man? It's good to have you on for the first time.
It's great. It's great. It's you have to have one Balkan representative on the show, and glad to fill that spot.
Yeah, and we got Dave back as always. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be back and glad to talk Inter. Finally, now we got like what 3 days before the matches actually start. So I'm excited. No more international games.
Yeah, man. Oh, it's been such a boring international break. Even with everything that has been kind of funny happening. I mean, you had the whole like Argentina Brazil thing. All kinds of mess happening, but it's just been so boring. But yeah, it's good to have Inter back. I've been hyped to talk about the club over. Like, I don't want to talk about the U.S. national team. Like nobody watches them. So yeah, it's good to have some club ball back. Starting off 3 days from now, I think is what Dave said, and I think that's right. Is Sampdoria first match of like this long run where you're gonna have Inter every single like 3 days, 4 days for like a month. I'll start with you, Ian. How are you feeling about going into this new Sampdoria team, like with Caputo and all their new signings?
Well, I think it's gonna be difficult. It's always difficult against Sampdoria. I think even Antonio Contreras and somehow always finding new ways to screw us over. But I don't know. I'm kind of confident at the same time as well because Inzaghi has been doing good right now, and even if the recent injuries are true, like the Stefano Sensi one again, I don't know. I still think if we have up top Lautaro Martinez and Correa, they could do bits. It could turn out good.
Yeah, for sure. Dave, we were talking about this right before we went on, and you seem a little on the fence about our chances in this match. How are you feeling on the record?
Well, I'm right there with Ian. I do have to give them their respect because historically, for some reason, that trip to Genoa always gives us an issue when we go to play Sampdoria. So Candreva is gonna find a way to make us regret sending them away. Quagliarella, you got to give him his respect. Chicho Caputo was a guy, 2 seasons ago? Last season was up there in the 20s as far as goal scorer, so his capabilities. But what I'm most worried about is not really Sampdoria, but is as far as we go. Because tonight, Argentina got a match they're playing. So that means Lautaro and Correa are probably going to play a match tonight, and then they're going to be traveling back tomorrow, which is going to be Friday, So I doubt that they're going to play. If they play, probably going to be like coming off the bench. So that means that we're probably stuck with Dzeko and Sensi. Because Sensi did come out and he dispelled the rumors saying that he's fine and that he's been training or whatnot. So let's hope that is true because I would hate to have to throw in Satriano. Because even though he's talented, you're not sure exactly what he can do for sure. And I would rather throw him in a situation where we're up 4-0, no pressure on, let him do what he can do. So that was just my long-winded way of saying that I'm confident because, like Ian said, we do have the better quality overall, even if we're talking about depth players compared to their starters. And I believe Inzaghi will find a way to make it happen. So I'll go 2-0 Inter.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those really cagey matches, especially off an international break. We always have a lot of guys that have to come back. And then we always end up, at least it's a Sunday this time. There are matches on Saturday. So we have a Sunday, but it's still like a lunchtime, Italian time match, which we always seem to get. And we always come out flat in those, especially off of like a break. I can remember maybe on like one hand the good starts we've had at that time. Yeah. Like, it's going to be a challenge. It'll be the first big, getting everybody back, trying to get everything back together, kind of managing a bigger club moment for Inzaghi. I think he can handle it. I think he'll be fine. He's had Alexis Sanchez, who might be on the bench, but he's coming back, so that'll be good. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it's going to be Dzeko, Sensi, and then in the Champions League, which we'll get to in a bit, against Real, it's going to be the first time that we see Lautaro and Correa together, which will be fun. But yeah, I'm a little worried. I could definitely see it being a close match. I mean, and it's at Samp, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, last year that was one of the few losses I can remember, and that was like a really really weird match. I don't know what was going on there really, but I mean, hopefully this season like nobody really keeps any of that like in their mind. I mean, that was January, so I mean it's been a while. New coach, but also a new look Samp, who I'm actually really interested to see. So I think it'll be interesting. What else do we have? We have who's been off. Oh yeah, also Dumfries. I've seen that he might get a start in the Champions League. I think that's kind of a big jump to go from not starting to your first start for Inter being in the Champions League. But I mean, I guess why not? But circling back, I'll go on the record. I'll say the Samp match. I think I'm going to agree with Nick's on our stream right here. He says it's going to be a tough match, 2-1. I think that's a very close call. I would say the one is probably a Handanovic standstill moment, but I guess we'll see. But yeah, we'll move on to what I'm really excited for. First match of the Champions League at home, Real Madrid, fans in the stadium. It's going to be really fun to watch. I'll start off with Ian. How are you feeling about that match, Champions League, all that?
Well, not only is it going to be a great match to see from the TV, but for me, it's going to be an amazing match to see live because I'm actually going. It's gonna be a while, but glad to be back at the stadium. I'm actually terrified about the match. For me, Real Madrid are like we saw last year. Like mistakes happen all the time, even with Hakimi. Like they're just an experienced team that know how to get the best out of every situation. And even with Handanovic, God, I love him. He comes from my town, but like it's going to be a struggle, I think. Not really optimistic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty optimistic, which is usually a bad thing with this team, especially in the Champions League these past few years. I was telling Dave before we started, like it's always a cycle. Like we get back to the first match of the Champions League group stage, and we're all hype, and we're like, yeah, like this is the year we finally get through. And then by the end, you're like, God, just make this stop. Like I don't want to watch another like 0-0 draw, or like we need like one goal to get through, and we're not going to get it, or we give up a dumb goal. Like there's always just something. But then like you have enough time off, you come back around, and it's just you're ready again. And that's where I'm at. I'm at the beginning of that cycle. I'm ready. I think our best match against Real last season was the away match where they didn't have Ramos. And of course, he's gone now. So I think that it's a good chance. I think we have a good chance to really get something out of that match. Even if it's just a draw, that is huge for like down the road in this group. But Dave, what do you think?
Well, I'm like on the fence as well. First of all, Ian, I'm very happy you're gonna get to be back there and see our boys live, and I'm happy for you, man. I'm excited for you. I could tell that you're excited as well.
Yeah.
But Dumfries, man, let me say something about Dumfries. I'm surprised as well that all the rumors are saying that he's supposed to be getting his first start against Real Madrid. I would have expected him to start, I guess, against Samp coming up. If anything, if it's not working out, we can always throw in Darmian at the 60th minute or something like that. I feel like we have more of a margin of error per se, because he's still a question mark to us at least. Unless to Inzaghi, he no longer is a question mark. Inzaghi knows what he got, what he can do, and he's ready to give him a start. Because they're saying that the reason why he didn't play last match against Hellas Verona was because his fitness was still not up to par. And we could see that as well because the first match after the international, at the international break, the Netherlands, they started somebody else at right back, and he came in as a sub. So I guess he's been working his way back, and he's finally there as far as fitness goes. So I'm excited to see him. I think he'll do well. But to circle back to the match, I'm excited as well because there's a certain air of unpredictability that we have and that we didn't have for the past couple of years. Even with Spalletti, you know what you were gonna get. So with Inzaghi, they're saying that he's gonna start Correa and Lautaro up top, or he might start Dzeko and Lautaro, Dzeko, Correa. You really don't know what to expect as far as what our play is gonna be like. So I think that we can match him up, pushed by the energy of the fans, and I hope Ian does his part as well. And he better not have a voice when next time we speak to him from screaming in the game. But yeah, I'm excited. I think the boys would do well. We could be surprised by a surprise win here, and I'll be ready to do a pod right after that.
Yeah, I want to circle back. I want to ask a couple of questions to Ian about the match, like seat wise, like where are you gonna be, like how's it gonna? What are you expecting?
I'm expecting. Sorry, yeah, go on.
Before Ian speaks, we're gonna keep ignoring Risto down there, okay? Because he should have been here with us. Now he wants to participate in the comments. Risto, we see your comments, but we're not gonna acknowledge them.
No, I'll get his comments in after this. Don't worry, bro.
So regarding the seats, I'm just gonna take the cheapest one I can find. I think 60 euros is the cheapest one, which is a lot cheaper than what I've seen Milan fans crying about on Twitter. So regarding that, my wallet's going to be relatively intact. Other than that, yeah, this is going to be like my first Champions League game. I've been 2 seasons ago against Slavia Praga. Went well as 1-1. And the first Champions League match back at the Meazza after 8 years against Tottenham. I went there with my dad. Top 3 matches I've ever seen. Amazing.
Oh, wow, yeah. Yeah, the Vecino header, wow. Oof. To be
Fun
there
fact,
for that. That's
Antonio
insane.
Candreva took the corner for that goal, just so you know.
We're wrapping this time is just a flat circle here, wrapping it all the way back around. But that's insane. Yeah, that's wow. I've never seen Inter in person, of course. But one day, the day I get there, man, I swear it's gonna be something. But all right. Moving on to what Hristo is joining on the stream, which we're lucky. I guess it's smart to do now because if he's out, he still leaves his mark. He says, first of all, Balkan supremacy. You guys miss me, but I'll be joining you after we lose the Samp. Very, very positive, very on brand. And then talking about Real, he says Ancelotti's an awful coach. I mean, I don't think he's awful, but I think he definitely has fallen upwards into that job. Like, I don't know why he's managing Real Madrid when he couldn't cut it at even Napoli. I mean, he had decent seasons at Napoli. It wasn't great. And then Everton, like, what was he doing at Everton? I don't know how this guy is in the Real Madrid seat where Zidane was, and Zidane brought Champions Leagues. Like, I mean, you can't knock that guy. So, yeah, that's another thing.
I'm sorry, bro. I think the thing is like he's a company man, and that's what Real Madrid like. I think it's the same thing for Juve, for example. Clubs like that, they want a coach that he knows the way the club runs. He adheres to those rules, and he's good at also man managing, as far as the superstars go. So, I think that's why he had so much success. He was able to manage all those personalities and all that. Now that squad is not as star-studded anymore, even though Hazard is looking like he's catching his form back, and Bale is looking good. So they do have their guys, but I think that's his thing. He's not a tactical genius by any stretch of the imagination. Nobody's talking about Ancelotti ball or Carlo ball, but he's very likable. He knows how to get the best out of his players, and all his ex-players seem to love him for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that. But tactically, I don't think he's got it anymore.
How to get the best out of his.
Yeah, that was a blip there, but
yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that. But
oh my god,
I don't think he's got it anymore.
Let's see if I can fix this rogue stream at the moment.
Yeah, that was a blip there, but yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that. But oh my god, I don't think he's got it.
The fuck.
Okay, let's see. Still getting used to this new platform, but hopefully that doesn't happen again. I completely lost my train of thought. I think I was talking about Ancelotti. Yeah, but that's another big thing is not having Zidane, who, he wasn't regarded as the best tactician, but he was able to figure us out and run. He knew Champions League. That was his bread and butter. He ate that competition. Didn't matter what squad he had. Didn't matter who was available. And now to bring in Ancelotti, I think that's another reason why I like our chances a lot more than looking at them last season. But you mentioned Hazard. Is he fit right now? I don't watch much of La Liga. I won't cap, but
yeah, he is actually because I'll admit it. I still watch every Belgium match because I'm not gonna say his name. He's still one of my favorite players. And Hazard has been looking good. He's looking sharp, quick little movements, and he looks fit physically as well. So he's gonna give us problems. And also Bale, we got to give him credit. He scored a hat trick, I think, during the international break as well.
Oh wow, yeah, I didn't know any of that. But
I think it was 2 penalties though, but still, hat trick's a hat trick.
yeah, we see plenty of that from the guy that used to be at Juventus that I won't name, but yeah, I really like our chances still going into Real. Really hoping for a good start to the Champions League group, and then it doesn't stop there. Right after that, 3 days later, another match. It's a home match against Bologna. Then 3 days later, you got midweek midweek Serie A against Fiorentina. I think that's away. Then Atalanta away. No, that's home. Atalanta home, and then Shakhtar away. So, it's a crazy rapid fire month. I don't really know what to make of it. Let's start. Ian, how do you feel about just this whole month? It looks really hectic. Are you still expecting
Yeah, that was the word that I was gonna use. It's so hectic. Sampdoria, we know it's difficult. Madrid at home, it's gonna be a brutal match if you ask me. Bologna's not as always, but it can be a difficult match. Fiorentina last season, the first game of the season, 4-3 with a D'Ambrosio goal to win it, and then in injury time, I think, or in the last 5 minutes. It was a difficult match. Atalanta, always a test. Shakhtar, we know for the last 2 seasons, even in the Europa League and last season, 2 draws. It's going to be difficult. And even after that, there's the Sassuolo match away. I just looked up our schedule. And then, only then, we have the international break again. So it's going to be a slugfest. It's going to be brutal.
Yeah, I never thought probably by the end of that, I'll be looking forward to an international break. Never thought I'd say that, but Dave, what do you think is probably the hardest match? Of course, we'll leave Real out of this. Which one do you think is going to cause us the most problems in September?
The match, our first match, actually, I believe the match we're going to play against Sampdoria coming up is going to be our toughest test, is because of all these factors. We have guys coming back from the international break. We have guys like Sensi, who's not fully fit. We have Dumfries, who's not fully integrated, So I feel like all those factors, that's what's going to make it tough for us. But surprisingly, I want to take the other route as far as the hectic month that we just spoke about. I'm looking forward to it because looking at the schedule, I didn't only look at our schedule, I looked at our rivals' schedule as well. And in the next 3 or 4 match days, I believe we're the only top 17 who are not going to be tested, especially in the Serie A. This match day, we have Juve playing Napoli, we have Milan playing Lazio. Next week, I think we have Roma playing. There's a lot of direct confrontations, whereas we're getting, who do we have? I think Ian said it earlier. We have Sampdoria coming up. After that, we have Bologna, and then we have Sassuolo or Fiorentina.
Fiorentina, Atalanta, then Sassuolo.
Fiorentina, Atalanta, then Sassuolo. So before Atalanta, I feel like we should do whatever we need to do to make sure we collect all 3 points, because we're going to be having much easier fixtures than our rivals, and maybe we could build a little gap, because it is going to get tough after that. And again, we've all been speaking about it. What have we all been speaking about as far as the squad this year? Is that, oh my God, okay, we did lose Lukaku, we lost Hakimi, but we gained so much depth, And hey, listen, that's when depth comes into play. When you get a hectic schedule coming up, we have to interchange parts here and there, and that's an advantage. And hopefully, we do take advantage of that, and it shows on the table by the time that we get to that next international break.
Yeah, that is a really good point. I guess our biggest test, like top 6 wise, top 7 wise, is going to be Atalanta. Yeah. So I mean, other than that, like we're chilling. Like I was just looking, like he talked about rival schedules. I pulled up Juve's schedule. You got Napoli. I mean, they have Malmo in the Champions League. I mean, that might be kind of tough. I mean, you got to go to Sweden. Yeah, so maybe that'll trip them up a little bit, but that doesn't really matter for us too much. But right after that, they have Milan, so that's a big match. That's going to have some implications. So I mean, and that's something when we did our previews, and I've like talked to other people about previews for or predictions for the season, not previews, but talking about stuff like that. It was a couple matches in, of course, and I was like, I can't get a read on any of these top teams because they haven't played each other. And we're going to get that, but it's going to be an advantage for us because it's not us having to get into it yet. We're going to be able to see, who's really coming up well against who before we have to brace to get into it, which I really like. Now I'm really excited for Juve Milan next weekend, 10 days from now. That's going to be a fun watch because it's just going to be watching the world burn, see who gets it the worst. Moving. What can we move into as well?
I just want to say, like, this is the perfect time for us to escape, to really grab the top position, because we should get not the easy ones, but like we should get the wins every single game up until like the Lazio game, which is like mid-October after the international break. While these teams are going to take points from each other, and even that mental confidence, just in the head, like, okay, we're like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points clear of them. They played each other. That should help us a lot, even going into those matches again against the top 7 teams.
Yeah. We really need to get that, little gap going before we get into that same, run. Because if we don't have that run of fixtures right now, like it's coming down the road. Like we can keep putting it off, but eventually we're going to get on that murderer's row of top 4 guys.
Yeah. The schedule evens itself out eventually, So it's like a race, We get it's like we're in the first corner, whatever it's called. I don't know the technicalities. So we get the head start. Hopefully they don't catch up to us.
Hey, we got the inside track. I ran track.
Inside track. That's what it is. Come on, Dave.
Nah, you're good, man. But yeah, really, really exciting stuff coming up. Uncle Sharma tooting his own horn in our comments talking about Arturo Vidal's season, but I mean he's right. Like that's one of the guys really early on that I've really liked. I'd have to go back, but I don't think I was ever terribly hard because there were so many people that were like, Vidal like needs to leave the club like that. But like I always thought that there was something good in there. I didn't think it would be what we've seen like first few matches. I think if that continues and like he's fine in like this like 30-minute super sub role, that is great. I don't want to see him from the start. That's how you get a red, but I'm really, really liking Vidal. Ian, what do you make of like some of these guys like Vidal, Darmian, these guys that we weren't expecting like stepping up so early? And do you think they'll keep on at that level?
So for me, there are 2 spectrums of this. You have the unexpected guy like Darmian who comes in quietly, but also isn't paid as much. That's what I like about him, and he's consistent. He's solid. You can count on him. And then you have Vidal. We know Vidal has like a hot streak when it comes to his temperament. Like he cost us. Well, won't say cost us, but like he got a red card against Madrid last season. Some games he wasn't that good. Then against Juventus, he scores the header. He's paid a crazy amount of wages. I don't mind him personally, but like for the amount of money he's getting paid, to have that like winner's mentality and all that, maybe I would have expected a bit more from him. Even though he is 34, like still maybe a bit more, but I don't mind him. Like you can get better quality, better depth, better bench players, for those like midweek games or the easier ones on the weekend in preparation of like the big match. that's coming up, I don't mind him personally. If he does his job well, like he has been doing under Inzaghi now, not really under Conte, like he was expected to. But like under Inzaghi, he's been really, really solid. I just hope it's not like a short fuse thing when like he just burns out and then goes back to being shit.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't mind him. Darmian, on the other hand, I love him. Consistent, does things we didn't really expect from him. Like when he came with from the plane, no one at the airport was there to greet him. He left with a Scudetto. He left with the winner's medal.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, these really Darmian, wow, like I wasn't expecting it. Like Vidal, like yeah, he definitely had more expectation coming in. Like everyone knows his name, everyone knows what he's done in his past. But like Darmian, I mean, when he came in, even I was like, this guy, he was at like Man U, didn't really do anything, went to like Parma of all places. I was like, why are we signing this guy? But I mean, he's coming in huge in this gap right now without Hakimi, of course. But I'm hoping that like this depth that we look like we have now with guys like this coming good, I'm hoping that stays because that's going to be huge for us this season because we were just talking about how like hectic, how chaotic this part of the schedule is. And like we're going to have 2 or 3 more of these months where it's like, yeah, if you're in the Champions League, you're playing every 3 days, and you can't have the same players playing every 3 days, especially like up top. You've got, your frail guys like Sensi, or I guess Alexis now too. And then you have your older guys, also Alexis, Dzeko. I mean, Vidal's older, but he's in that depth role. But we need these guys to all stay healthy and stay performing at this high level that, I mean, it is a small sample size. But if they can keep that up, I'm really liking our chances in like every competition this season.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we got to give people flowers while they can still smell them. Vidal, to agree with Nick Snox down there in the comments, this was the exact moment where I was done with him. I think there was the pivotal match in the Champions League that we needed to beat Real Madrid, and he gets a stupid red just for arguing with the ref or some stuff like that. And that was the guy that was brought in and paid amongst the highest earners on the squad, and for him to bring his experience and his winning mentality. And here he was being the guy that we were losing because of. So I was done with him at that point. I guess after that he scored the goal against Juve, and I didn't mind him after that. But credit to Conte. I think Eriksen came to life, and we never saw Vidal after that. We saw him made a couple cameo appearances, but Conte really stuck to Eriksen, and that's the reason why we never saw Vidal. But this season, we can already see the difference because I think Inzaghi is using him in a different role. The first couple of matches, he's made tangible impacts on us winning. I guess the first match we were already winning. It didn't matter. He came with a goal and an assist. But the second match, that pass to Darmian that led to that cross for Correa for the 2-1 goal, that was beautiful. I see that Inzaghi, as opposed to what Conte was doing, Inzaghi seems to be using them as more of a register. I see him. He took off Rojo and replaced them with Vidal. So as opposed to having to do all the busy work up and down like Barella, for example, or Sean at the end, he just sits back and mops up, which is something that he's very good at. I think all that energy compressed into 30 minutes, 20 minutes at his age, that's great. I mean, so I think that's an asset. That's a key asset that we have, and hopefully he can stay fit. That's always been the issue with those guys, those Chilean guys. Once they go on international duty, him and Alexis, they always pick up knocks for Chile because they play like warriors for their NT.
Oh yeah, man. Like I don't know what they do to those guys in training for the national team in Chile, but oh my God, the way that Alexis always comes back with something. And then the coach is like, it's not my fault. If he's healthy, I'm going to pick him. I'm like, dude, you're playing a friendly.
About it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you're playing a friendly against like Paraguay. Like, you don't need him. Like, come on, like, give us a break. But I mean, he stayed in Milan, getting healthy. I don't know what this calf thing was that they were talking about. It sounded like career ending. And then like guy posted a video of himself running up a mountain and now is like about to be fit again. I don't know what is going on with him, but like we need him healthy because I don't think Satriano is ready yet. I think he'll be an interesting player. And I saw that Inzaghi was the guy that like blocked his transfer, but he doesn't need to be starting any kind of big matches anytime soon.
Well, speaking of Satriano,
yeah,
I didn't know that. So that means Inzaghi sees something in him then.
Yeah, definitely, because he was, I forget where, he's supposed to go to like Brest or somewhere in France.
Yeah,
and Inzaghi blocked it. Yeah, he blocked it. I don't know if it was because he was worried about his depth at that point, because we didn't know much about Alexis yet. But yeah, he said that, and like if you're working with a guy that knows strikers, I mean that's a good thing. Like I trust Inzaghi a lot more to get something out of a young striker like Satriano than I would Conte. Like Conte can build defenders, he can build midfielders, but like striker wise, I mean, he didn't really do much with Esposito. I mean, I don't think they're not sure how much there is to do there. I mean, guys scoring bangers in Switzerland, as we talked about before. But I mean, you also had Pinamonti, who, I mean, I think he's reached his ceiling. I think he's lower mid-table striker type. But I'm really, really liking how we have a manager that I know can develop attackers. Like, that's something that I didn't see as much with Conte.
True. Yeah. I think one reason as well why Satriano was kept at Inter was because, yeah, like you said, we didn't know if we were going to get Correa. I just looked up. Satriano, he's 108 centimeters. That's, I think, like 6'5". He's like the perfect vice Dzeko. Like even with Tucu Correa, he's like 188 centimeters, so still 6'5", 6'6". He can provide depth, but like how much playing time is he going to get realistically? Like maybe a cameo for like 10 or 15 minutes in the end when the game is already done and dusted, but more than that, I can't see him.
Yeah, I guess it's also that fine line between where you want a kid to get playing time, but you also want to keep him. You want him to be playing for you, but you don't want him to rot on your own bench. Like it's a problem that I'm glad I'm not a manager that has to deal with. Like on FM, like it's much easier to deal with. So,
but I think that to his benefit, if he has the right mindset, he could use this year and learn a whole lot. You know, because you have a guy like Dzeko, man. What a striker! The guy can no longer move, but he still finds a way to be effective, and he has a good impact on the game. So maybe Satriano could spend some time training with those guys, training at that level, knowing what it takes, seeing what it takes to to play for a team like Inter. Because everything I've been reading about him is that he's a mentality monster. He's crazy. He has that grinta, that Uruguayan grinta that people are saying. So hopefully he is that killer that people think that he could be. But if you don't mind, I wanted to go back to talk about Dumfries since we're freestyling a little bit. I saw there was a video going around of his performance against what was the team? The second match it was, and most people were trashing it, saying they don't see anything special, they don't see any technical ability, Darmian's going to be the starter and stuff like that. What I wanted to say is that I do agree. I do see why people say that. The guy is not, especially the fact that he was playing in a 4-3-3. So he was playing as a right back as opposed to being a right wing back. So that limits his license as far as going forward goes. So you only see him on overlapping runs and stuff like that. And when you did see him, he did what he needed to do. The thing about the wing back position, I feel like in football, it's one of those positions that you don't need much thinking. It's kind of simple. It's a lot of going up and down. You just need to know when to go up, when to go down, and stuff like that. And he has the athletic ability to do it. He seems to understand it. I think he'll do fine, man. So the people that have doubts about Dumfries, I just wanted to add that little comment in there that he just has the prototypical body for the position and the skills. I feel like we could just polish him into what we need him to be.
All right, so on the record for every Dumfries hater, I guess there's a few out there, but Dave's got you on pack watch. Y'all better watch out.
You know me.
I watched a little bit of the Dutch team, and our Dutch guys were just eating this international break. Like I watched the match against Turkey, and you had De Vrij, I think he was he the right-sided center back? I can't remember. But
Yeah,
him and
right-sided.
Dumfries both starting, working together. I mean, they destroyed Turkey. There was one point where Dumfries like just blew right by Çalhanoğlu, and I was like, oh, there we go. But yeah, I'm really excited. He really got me hyped watching those matches, and it's good to see De Vrij, getting some starts for the national team, getting that recognition, because it's always been Van Dijk and De Ligt, and Van Gaal has come in and finally said, like, let's get this guy deserves some respect. Let's get him in there. Let's see what he can do, and I'm really happy for him in that respect, because we all know it. We've seen him in Serie A since like his his days at Lazio, and like he's always been a solid defender. Now he's getting even better with age, and I'm glad to see him out there, even though I do worry like our center back depth isn't the greatest, and I don't want any of those guys to get injured, and then we have to see like Kolarov or anyone like that. But I'm really liking what we're seeing. And speaking of injuries, I want to talk about Sensi a little bit. I'm really excited for the Samp match, because I'm ready to see him behind Dzeko again. I thought that was a really interesting tactical thing, and I think that can also be really fluid with the midfield, because, I mean, he can do the same. He can play all those midfield positions when he's fit, and I think especially with Çalhanoğlu, if he starts as well, I think there's a lot of fluidity between those two guys, because they can both play that like second striker position and can play deeper as well. So if you guys want to
I'm sorry, I was gonna let Ian go, because
I was like, who wants to take it? Tossing it up.
Once I start talking Inter, man, I don't stop. But
yes.
back to my guy Sensi, man. I think I agree with you, Mikey. I think that's a great point. I don't think that people mention enough the difference between the two matches. Of course, Genoa, they always lay down for us or whatnot, and we have the excitement of the first match of the season, so we had fire in our eyes, and the fans at our backs or whatnot. But I feel like Sensi deserves credit as well for how we did dismantle Genoa, because him and Dzeko, they found a great understanding. Dzeko dropping back, him dropping back as well. At some point, we did not have a number 9 up there as a reference point. That's how fluid the team was, to use just the same word as you said, Mikey. So I think that I'm curious to see if it's the same thing if Sensi starts. So, and that way we could start giving him the credit for that fluidity, because although we did look good with Lautaro and Dzeko, it was not the same thing, we must admit. So if we play Sampdoria and we see it's the same thing, we're running them ragged, they don't know how to defend us. We're dragging their defenders all the way out of place because they got to follow Dzeko, they got to follow Sensi, and then we're scoring loads of goals. Then Inzaghi may have been onto something, and we got to give Sensi credit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, like, it is going to be interesting to see if Sensi does play like as a second striker against Sampdoria as well, because Sampdoria does play like a low block 4-2-3-1. I'm just looking like their last few games, how they played, like even against Milan, like a big team. They mostly just let the pressure soak in and then just try and hit on the counter. One of those magical Antonio Candreva crosses. No, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like, because against Genoa, like you said, they always like lay down for us, let us smack them. Like, it was the first game of the season. It's going to be obviously a bit easier than anything else, than any other game. But like even against Sampdoria now, I think it's going to be more difficult for Sensi. One, if he really had like that muscle injury again or whatever it was, it's going to be more difficult for him. Like, Sampdoria is a rougher team than Genoa. It's going to be a bit more difficult for him on that note as well. Like, defenders are going to be tackling him harder. Even in the midfield, you have Ekdal and Thorsby, who, at least from what I remember, like, are a bit more tough defenders. So it's going to be interesting. I really hope we could see like a Lautaro Tucu Correa partnership, but like if Inzaghi is planning on using that on the midweek game against Real Madrid, I'm more than happy taking chances with Dzeko and Sensi.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting dynamic, and like Dave said, if it works and like we see like the Dzeko Sensi like line up really like battering defenses, like I think that is a perfect like you let those two guys go on the weekend in Serie A, they both know that league, and then you go for a more like modern football type look when you have Correa and Lautaro who are going to run and be more attacking, like really high energy guys. And you really need that in the Champions League, as we've seen, because we've had all these traditional Italian managers who go out and try to play Italian football on the European stage, and it just doesn't quite work. Like you have to be going like a million miles an hour the whole time. You really have to be attacking. You really have to be fluid and creative to really do something in the Champions League, which I mean we haven't seen. So I'm really liking that idea. I think it's Inzaghi doing something really proactive, kind of acknowledging that, you know, the past hasn't worked out. I mean, it's the same thing he did at Lazio. Like, I mean, he got that squad, like, and they weren't even, like, fully fit, but he was dragging them, like, through the Champions League, at least to whichever round they got. I think they just got out of the group and then lost to Bayern in the first knockout round, but it was better than what we did. So I'm really excited for that. I think that's going to be something to really watch out for. I don't think we can stress the importance of Inzaghi as a coach right now. Like, we can't stress it enough because whatever he does is going to be how this team goes. And I really like what I've seen so far. It's still a small sample size, but I'm probably overhyping it a bit. I'll probably come back to this in a few months and be like, oh, what was I saying? But for now, I am blindly optimistic, especially about the Champions League and especially about our depth and like rotations and stuff, because it's really a Morata special. Like, I mean, you get the big bucks for the big name guy if you have to. Like, if something comes in you can't refuse or he wants to leave. I mean, you have the Pogba situation at Juve, but he uses that money so well in his teams when he gets that, where it's spread out and you have more depth. And they did it with no money. Like, I mean, free transfers, Dzeko, Çalhanoğlu, loan for Correa right now. I mean, I just really like what's going on. Dumfries as well. Like, I really like what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be very, very exciting to see. Like, what I hope is that Inzaghi is not as stubborn as Antonio Conte was. Regardless where like, whatever happens, but like Inzaghi has that record of going at least out of the knockouts. We had a better team with when Conte was at Inter than what Lazio had with Inzaghi when he was still there, and they still made it out. Like, you see, it is this.
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking that Inzaghi is not going to be that stubborn. Like, we see him making earlier changes. We see him kind of experimenting, whether it's because of injury or suspension, but he did the whole Dzeko, Lautaro, Sensi. I mean, I wasn't expecting Sensi as a second striker at all. I was like, if anyone's going to do that, that is in the midfield, it's going to be Çalhanoğlu. But if he feels more comfortable putting him deeper in the midfield and kind of carrying the ball out from there, like, I'm all for that. He's kept the same defensive structure pretty much that was so, like, effective. I mean, they play a little bit higher up now, but that might burn us a little bit. But if we're scoring more, you can afford to let in an extra goal or two. And then, of course, like, the aging of Handanovic doesn't help with goals. But I'm going to use that. Going to use that to segue into the talk about Onana, who didn't move from Ajax. He stayed and is going to run out his contract, and everything kind of indicates that that's Inter. Like, he's coming to Inter for that. Well, how do you guys feel about him, and do you think he'll be like a worthy heir for Handanovic?
Dave, you want to take that? Come on, you do it.
Well, Onana, I'm super excited about him, to be honest, and it seems like a lot of stuff have been going on behind the scenes. First off, I'm sorry, Dino. I wanted to acknowledge you first. Anything that has some slander towards Risto is welcome here. So, Dino, thank you. Great comment. But Onana, back to Onana. I'm excited about it because I see a lot of stuff have been going on behind the scenes. Supposedly, He spent all summer negotiating with Lyon, and once they finally reached an agreement, and then Ajax were ready to sell him, he decided he didn't want to agree with them anymore. So supposedly, it's a tactic to make sure that he can run out his contract and not be moved to a place that he doesn't want to move. And supposedly we have an agreement already, and we've already paid the agents and whatnot. I'll see if I could find the old articles. They were not big sources. That's why I never really gave him any attention. But there's a lot of stuff out there about the Onana situation, a lot of speculation. Now, as far as the player itself, last time we saw him, he was easily one of the best young goalkeepers in Europe. Playing well with his feet, and the Ajax team that was beating that they beat Juve. They were beating a lot of good teams at the time, and Onana was making a lot of saves, and not only reflex saves, but good goalkeeper saves. He's a big kid. He's 25, so that means as a keeper, he's young, and he's coming to Italy. So that means he has another level that he can still improve. Because I believe, as far as goalkeepers, defenders, Italy is where you come to school. So I think he will improve further. Now, there is the question of, okay, a guy hasn't played football for a year. So there is that match fitness, that match awareness issue. So I feel like we can solve that hopefully by lowballing them in January just to bring him in and see if we can get him acclimated sooner and let Andanovic pretty much run out his contract. That would be a very good transition. So long-winded as always, but I'm super excited about Onana, man. I hope it's true, and I hope we get him.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge, I think we did talk about this on the last episode, but I think that was before the window was officially closed. I can't remember. But yeah, that's what's got me really hyped, is that the window's closed. Like, this is like either January or June. Something's going to happen. Ian, I know you're number one Handanovic, man. You get from the same town. That's your boy. That's your boy. You better have his back. But what you got on him?
See, I love the prospect of Onana coming to Inter to replace Handanovic. I think he's more than good to do it. I hope he starts learning Italian soon. He has the reflex saves. He has like the shot blocking. He can play with his feet. I love all of that about him. The one thing that worries me is he hasn't been training since February. He's been demoted to Ajax Young team, which means he's not even gonna face any real competition, even if he's gonna. Okay. Even if he's ever going to face any type of strikers, it's not going to be the same type of competition as he would even in the Eredivisie or even in the Champions League, because in that same time Ajax have replaced him, even if it was his own fault for getting suspended for almost a year now, or 8 months to get to. In the end, doesn't matter. What more worries me is that he's still going to be out of match practice. He's gonna lack the sharpness. Even until the end of the season, he's not really going to play any competition really. So that's what worries me, that he doesn't lose that edge, that he doesn't forget how to play with his feet. That sometimes goalkeepers just seem to forget. You saw it with Kepa Arrizabalaga when he left Bilbao into Chelsea. He just seems brain dead at times. He seems to be picking it up now. He seems to be getting better. Won them the Super Cup European or whatever it was. He can stop the penalties now. I hope same happens with Onana.
Yeah, we're getting some comments to laugh in the middle for whoever's listening afterwards on streaming platforms. We're being a bit bombed by Rocky Bobby on his Serie A's podcast account.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah. And we've got Saeed down here too, S11. He's on us too. But yeah, I agree. There is a little bit of reason to be, a little cautious around Onana because of the suspension and because of, I've always had kind of not a great relationship with the Eredivisie. I always worry about guys coming from that league about the same way that I worry about guys coming from Portugal. It's just a big jump in quality, and a lot of players can make it, but a lot of them also can't. And I'm hoping that he's one of the ones that can. I mean, he's shown it in the Champions League. He was a part of that, if I'm not mistaken, the Ajax team that knocked out Juve, knocked out Real. So, I mean, he's been on the big stage, but to do it in one of the top leagues as well as doing it in the Champions League, I mean, it'll be a challenge if, of course, he comes. I think he will, but I guess we'll see. God, Saeed, bro, getting all kinds of stuff in the chat right now. Who's the bigger snake, Christo for not showing up, or the one in Mikey's bathroom? For that backstory, anyone who missed, I had like a 4-foot snake in my bathroom. Don't know how it happened, but it was not.
He's not talking about his penis either. So
yeah, it's not even. I wish it was a joke. But yeah, that was my Twitter escapade yesterday. But yeah, Hristo, he told us he wasn't showing up. He sent a pic in our pod chat, like he's out, and he sent a picture of his beer. So like, I mean, he's living it up, man. I'm the one here doing a podcast. I can't rag on my guy. So yeah. But we'll move on to actually something that I wanted to ask. I just wanted to ask Ian because he was rattling off some of the matches he's been to. I wanted to see if you could give us a list of like your top in-person matches.
Top in-person matches, is this all clubs or just Inter-related?
We'll do both. We'll do one
both.
Inter and one clubs, because it's very rare that we get a well-traveled man in these parts.
So like regarding Inter, it has to be, I'm tossed between number one being Inter versus Tottenham 2-1, you know, that comeback. Thank you, Sharma, for having my back. It's like, you know, the Inter Tottenham, the atmosphere was amazing. I'll send a couple of videos later. You can post them on your podcast page as well. It was after 8 or 9 long years having Champions League back at the Giuseppe Meazza. It was amazing. The people, the atmosphere, even the players themselves. It just felt something different. It was electrifying, you know. But the other one that might surprise you guys is that my first ever match was against Napoli. It was, I think, in season 2017-2018, and we lost that one due to a Nagatomo error, and then a patented Jose Callejon goal at the far post, you know, just across to him, and like he just does something at the far post and somehow it goes in. Just from the perspective that it was my first match, it was amazing. Nonetheless, even if we lost. So yeah, but I still think like the Inter-Tottenham match was great. In the Slavia Praha, like the Barella goal, I saw it like I was on the stands at that goal. It was, none of us expected it. Like some Italian guy just started chatting shit to me like, "Oh, what the fuck, man? This is embarrassing." You know, I was just like, "Yeah, it is." No, but yeah, like it was still amazing. So yeah, I hope that this Real Madrid trip is going to be good. It's going to be worth it. I'm traveling alone. I'm gonna be leaving with the train at like 4 or 5 in the morning, just so I can like catch the city again. Even before the game starts, I'm gonna be traveling back home the same day at like 2 in the morning. So I have work next morning at 11. So
sacrifices.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
But regarding like all the other matches that I've been, there's my local team, Olimpia Ljubljana. It's like from the capital of Slovenia. When we won our first league trophy in like 28 years, so like even after Yugoslavia broke up, I don't know how much you guys know about that, but we haven't been like in a win position for like 28 years. I've been to the match where we won it. It was a bullshit penalty. I'm sure it was rigged. Doesn't matter. We all still crowded the pitch afterwards. I got the corner flag. Yeah,
that's great.
We threw beer on the players. We chanted. It was amazing. It was a true Balkan experience. It was nice. But yeah, I've been to lots more of like these local matches for my teams. Even to Slovenia games, it's a bit more boring. It's a bit more dead. I've been to the latest one. It was against Malta. I just had like a Bosnian bloke drunk next to me. He was like drinking beer from 7 in the morning because he had like a footy tournament, and then he was just like drinking, and he was in the middle of the game. He was like, I think I'm hungover. I just need to grab another beer. It was amazing. It was
sounds
fun.
like a great time.
Yeah, that's great. You can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. So I mean,
you never get hungover. You can never stop drinking.
Oh man, yeah. That going back to the Tottenham match, that was such a great time in like being an Inter fan, because that was like first big game back after like the last big match of the season before, of course, the Vecino header against Lazio against our former or our now coach and now star center back. But it's funny to see. But just I had this feeling. I guess we're doing story time now. But when we had that corner for that goal against Tottenham, I was like, yeah, I just had a feeling. I stood up, like I was sitting in my room, like not doing anything, nobody around, but I just stood up. I was like, somebody's about to head this corner in, and it went in, and I was like, wow, and like going crazy in my own like room, nobody around, nobody like I was like nobody around me like watches football, so they were just like, what are you doing? Like my roommates like just all confused, but yeah, that was a great moment. I couldn't imagine that live, but like that place had to be insane, like falling over everybody, like.
It was something else. It was once in a lifetime kind of event. When we were still losing, I still remember it was an Eriksson goal. It somehow made it in against Handanovic, who tried to laser save it with his eyes. That's a meme. And then when it was still 1-0, like I remember my dad was next to me, and I know Saeed or someone's gonna call me out and say this is bullshit, but I thought it's a true story. I swear. He said, all right, if they draw this, we might go to another game. If we win this, we're definitely going to another game. I said, all right, but we're gonna lose. I completely lost hope. Then that Mauro Icardi volley, bullet straight into the net. I was like, okay. And then like even the Vecino header was something special. The whole stadium just erupting.
Yeah, that's Vecino header. Oh, go ahead, my bad.
It's crazy how life comes full circle, man, because I'm thinking, now that you reminded me of that volley from Icardi, man, I'm thinking to myself the feelings that I had for this guy at the time, because I had been telling my friends about Icardi all along, and here he was scoring a worldly and on the biggest stage, like, because everybody was like, yeah, he's just a Serie A player, Farmers League, he can't do nothing on the big stage. And a beautiful volley like that, I loved that guy at that time. And now I can't stand him. So you see how life works, man. Full circle.
Yeah, the drama with our nines these days. Well, not now, Dzeko, consummate professional. I don't think we have to worry about it now. But, I mean, Icardi, how that went sour. And then our guy, our boy Lukaku, I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah. After he left, and now he's like out tweet. Oh, the Lukaku shirt. Oof. Is it sponsor on the front? Is it sponsorless?
Nah. I got it sponsorless. That's why I have Lukaku.
Oh, he's got the drip. He got the sponsorless.
Because I got it right away. But I should have waited.
Yeah, and then Saeed in the comments going the same way I was about to go. Like he left, he went back to England where he knows like the pressure's high. Like talking about Lukaku, pressure's high. They don't like he knows his reputation there, but now he's on Twitter like being like, "Oh, people's perceptions." I'm like, you knew what the perception.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like, and when he was with us, it was none of that. It was always coming in saying something positive or after a match or something like that. So now you could tell that he's starting to feel the pressure, because watching the Liverpool match, man, they were on his ass. That one time he was trying to run with the ball and all that stuff. He had a couple Lukaku moments. So I'm just sitting there watching now, man. It's no longer my business. So yeah. I'll retweet maybe, but that's the most he'll get out of me.
I mean, you might be a bit more passive, but I was just retweeting. 433 on Instagram asked like if Lukaku were to make a song, what would he do? I'm in the comments. I'm like, loved by Inter fans, still betraying them, featuring Jay-Z. I'm all on it. Fuck you, Lukaku.
Oof.
Salty as fuck, and I don't even care.
Damn, Lukaku talk got the chat, got us all in therapy mode. We got Fern can't wear his Lukaku shirt from last year. It hurts. Sharma talking about Hristo tweeting at Lukaku every day since he's left. I mean, we're throwing the defenseless under the bus. We got Knicks, Lukaku. Yeah, I didn't actually watch. I have not watched Chelsea since Lukaku went. I'm kind of I'm on a Premier League personal cleanse. I'm not really watching the Prem right now. I didn't watch last season, and I guess I'm gonna take this season off too, and then maybe next season be ready. But I guess we'll see. I do want to. It's probably for the memes, but Dino asking thoughts on Raspadori. This will be one of our last things before we get out of here. I mean, I think he's all right. I haven't seen enough of him. I don't think he's had the sample size to really prove yet. I mean, everyone likes him. He's had good, everyone in the media seems to like him. He's had a good start to his career, but I think there's still I want to see him do some more before we go in for however much they're gonna ask for, because Sassuolo still drive a hard bargain. But Ian, what do you think, Raspadori?
Personally, I haven't seen much of him. But from what I've seen, the compilations, obviously the compilations are not a good sample size. We know with Raw Mario what happens when you watch compilations, and you judge your player off that. But still, from what I've seen, and even in the last match of Italy, when he and Mo's Keane just shown, and he's an Interista, even if he does get to wear the jersey, even if he does join the club, he might work harder, he might strive to hit his upper ceiling, to break the ceiling, what everyone expects of him. For now, I think let him be at Sassuolo. If he really is an Interista, like everyone says, I've seen his old Facebook profile, or even this Facebook profile, and he is "Yo sono Interista" photos and all that, Inter wallpapers and everything like that. He wouldn't move to a big rival like Milan or Juventus. So we do still have a chance of picking him up, even if he leaves Sassuolo. But for now, just let him be. At least one more decent season, and then we can maybe seriously start saying, all right, Dzeko's getting older. Maybe we bring Raspadori in, develop a new system or something like that. Because for Conte, when we were linked with him, he wasn't really a great fit. We all know that. Conte has a Lukaku for the center of attention, playing with his back against the goal. And then have Lautaro sometimes miss, sometimes hit those shots. You never really know. So for now, I would say let Raspadori chill, develop, come back in 1 year's time, 1.5 years' time, evaluate the situation again, and then see if he's worth picking up or not.
Yeah, and talking about him being an Interista, I do think I saw where he turned down he saw Sassuolo negotiating with Juventus for him, and he kind of came in and was yeah, no, he shot that down. He was basically Inter or nothing. And I mean, I guess that's kind of the same thing with Berardi. I forget if he's a Milanista or an Interista, but I remember him shooting down a Juve deal, or they had half his ownership at one point. I remember that being a whole drama. But dealing with Sassuolo just seems like hell, man. Those guys, there's a reason they hold on to Berardi for so long. There's a reason they've got guys like Bolga who are still there. They got a pretty penny for Locatelli, who after leaving Milan, nobody really thought too much of him, but then developed him into this guy who had his time in the sun at the Euros. Respect to them, but yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit before I really have a good read on Raspadori. Maybe I just need to watch more Sassuolo. I usually do. I haven't seen him play, but maybe with Caputo leaving, they're putting more eggs in that basket. So I guess we'll see. Dave, what do you think about him?
I'm full on the bandwagon. After we get off, I'm gonna find my old tweets, but it's one of those guys that once you see him, there's something that pops out about him to me. He's super combative. He reminds me a little bit of Lautaro, a nicer Lautaro, but he has that same grinta, that same work ethic, a little bit of Aguero as well. He's good. He's actually good holding up the ball. I'm sure you guys saw that watching the last Italy game. and he's good as far as linking up and pass and move, all of that. But he's tiny. That's the only issue I have with him. He's super small, and we already have Lautaro, who seems that he's gonna be the guy going forward at Inter. So that's the only issue I have. But as far as the talent, I think he is a real talent, and I think that we'll find out this season because Sassuolo, by letting go of Chicho Caputo, like you said, Mikey, they're going all in on him, and he already scored a beautiful goal. He's already got a goal, So I think this season is supposed to be the season that he shows what he can do, and then hopefully we can get him on a free loan with option to buy, just like the same special they gave Juve for Locatelli. Hopefully.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the Aguero. A lot of people compare him to Aguero. Fern says he's like really not athletically. I can't read. Doesn't do anything athletically too outstanding. Has a nose for goal. He's a little bit awkward. Fox in the box type. That sounds a bit like a Cardi. But I guess we'll see. I think he's got a lot of growing to do. I know he's still young. He's on the short side, isn't he? He always, at least from what I've seen, like he looks like a shorter guy.
That's why I said he's tiny.
Yeah. I'll go ahead.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Raspadori is 172 centimeters. That's like 5'8", 5'9", something like that. Not really tall.
Also, offshoot, I really respect that you can go from centimeters to feet and inches because I can't do that. U.S. education system failed me. Like I'm in grad school, still don't know how to go centimeters to inches, but I respect that. But short guy. Let's get through a couple of these comments and then get out of here. A lot of BSing from some guys that we know. Appreciate Fern A defending me from Saeed. Saeed talking about me, trying to make a show out of this. Nah, this is fun. This is why we switched to this format.
We like it. We like it. We like it. The fact that it's interactive. Thanks for the support, guys. We need more people actually.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll keep growing as we do this more, get more accustomed. We don't have blips where we just start like echoing like we were. Don't know what happened there, but yeah, thanks everyone in the comments. Saeed, Fern, Dino, Raki Bobby was here for a minute.
Uncle Sharma.
We had Nix, Sharma. Like, thanks guys. Like, really appreciate it. The more, I mean, if you're listening to this as we stream, or if you're streaming it later, like, we're not the best at scheduling, but if you catch us on, come on, drop a couple questions, come chat, we'll get it in. Really appreciate it. Appreciate Ian coming on. Is there plug your Twitter for us or anything else?
Nothing to plug. I just want to ask when's the Manscaped plug coming in.
We ain't that big yet. We ain't that big yet. We're humble, okay? we don't have a code yet.
We have Manscaped slide in the I think it was the pod Gmail a while back, but then I hit up Dono, who had was plugging them on Calcio Connection for a bit, and he said that it's purely commissions. Like they'll send you the free whatever lawnmower, weed whacker, whatever the hell they call that thing. It sounds like you're going to Home Depot. But yeah, I said it was purely commissions and like it's not really worth it. And I don't think I can talk about balls to a bunch of like our guys watching. I can't do it, man. I can't talk about balls on the internet for 20 minutes for nothing.
No, listen, you have to treat your balls like Inter treats Sensi. You have to take it carefully. You have to do it slow. You make sure no one gets injured in the end of it.
We'll get you to do the plug, bro.
I mean, I did study marketing for a bit, so maybe.
Free advertising right there.
Yeah. So use our non-existent code. Just send us money, please. But kidding. But thanks Ian for coming on. Dave, as always, it's been good talking. Thanks, and thanks everyone who has come in, listened, commented. Should be up pretty soon on here and everywhere else. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
All right, peace.